Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. This time it's of the card phone, the world's first ultra-thin card phone. So, as the name implies, this is a very small and thin cell phone. Now, I'll let you know right now, it's not a smartphone, but what it lacks in that ability, it hopefully makes up for in the fact that it is so darn small. Okay, so looking just real quick at the package, yes, I did get this from overseas. And you can see the package is really simplistic. Yeah, so not much to see there, so we'll go ahead and open it up. Now, the instructions are in both Chinese, as you'd expect, since it comes from China, and also English on this side. And it does come with pictures, so decent instructions, although there's not a lot of them, but again, the phone's a simple phone. So anyway, let's go here to the specs. So I'll put these up so you can see. Okay, now as far as the SIM card, it's an unlocked phone, as you may expect. So you can go ahead and put your SIM card in as long as it's GSM. And as far as SIM card size, you can use all three. So from the regular standard SIM to the micro to the nano. However, whatever card you have, it's going to have to eventually be cut down to nano SIM size. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at the actual item here. So there was just a little piece of tape holding this closed. I already cut that up. And here we have, you can see right away, there's the item in a little probably anti-static bag. And then you have your charger here, which is USB to micro USB. And let's get the phone out. Okay. So... and there it is. Wow. Yeah. So, yes, it is small. Now, I actually have one of these frequent gas reward cards, but this is the size of a normal credit card. And just to show you how small this thing is, you can hide the whole phone behind a regular credit card. The only thing is that this little hanger, you see it has like a little hanger, that peeks out. But I mean, for all practical purposes, it is, at least that way, smaller than a credit card. And then on the side here, you can see the credit card up top and then the phone as far as thickness goes. So yes, it's very, very slim and also small. Now, there's where the SIM goes. It even says so. Does it have a plastic protector on the back? Maybe, I'm not sure. Could be. I think there's some kind of cover back there. And yeah. Right, so before we go on, I thought this would be a good time to talk about the question that many people will have about an item such as this, and that is, well, simply put, why in this day and age with smartphones with 2K screens and 10-core processors and 3 cameras, why would you ever get something like this, a really small non-smartphone? And I would reply, this is not meant to replace a smartphone. Unless you don't like smartphones for whatever reason, no smartphone user is going to say, well, this is my new phone from now on. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, what are the scenarios that this would be advantageous? Alright, so I've come up with essentially, I'll say 3 reasons. The first reason is, I'll just say, affordability and the chance of loss. And what I mean by that is, if this should get lost, you're not going to be torn up about it. Unlike if you lose your smartphone, which is like, what, $900 some, yeah, it's going to be a little more upsetting. The second reason is ease of carry. I mean, okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's super small. I mean, even holding this thing, I mean, it's so light that if you had this in a pocket, you wouldn't even know that you had it on you. And so I actually have a garment here, and this is a vest, right, a dress vest. And I just wanted to show you. See these little pockets? I mean, they're really too small for anything. But for this little deal, just there you go. And it's so thin, I mean, again. So, and this might be an extra benefit to the ladies with their nice, elegant dresses. It seems like the nicer or the more dressed up they get, the less pockets they have, right? So you could put this in whatever little tiny pocket that nice evening gown has. Boom, you could still carry a phone with you, and you wouldn't have to put it in your little bag that they carry. Anyway, so, okay, so that's that. And now the third is, well, I'm just going to call it the stealthy spy reason. All right, now for those who are into, for whatever reason, want to have a phone on them but don't want people to know that they have a phone with them, you can fill in whatever scenario you want, but let me show you why. It used to be a few years ago, before the Samsung Gear and the Apple Watch came out, that if you had something like this, and yes, I know this is one of the early smartwatches, but I got this for a reason. Because at the time this was out, I was wearing this actually, and it was very few people had any idea this was a phone. They thought it was just a bulky watch. They thought it was kind of cool because they thought, oh, is it like, it's a touch screen? But even the people that knew this was a touch screen didn't have an idea that it was a phone. Well, of course, now fast forward to today, everybody knows if you have any kind of watch that has a flat surface like this, it's a smartwatch. So, all right, so you're not going to be able to do your little spy deal without that. Now, let's take this by contrast. Look at this. If I turn this thing around, I mean, very few people are going to know this is a phone, okay? I mean, it says card on it, for and you'd have to get really close to see that says SIM. Even up here, you probably couldn't see that. And looking at it this way, most people are going to assume it's one of two things: a power bank or an RFID card to get into your place of employment. The one you hold up to the door, boop, and then the door opens. So, yeah, you have all your spy stealth right here. And again, even if you did want to completely hide it, it is so thin. If you have a pocket, you can put this in there, and you might even forget you have it on, let alone someone who doesn't even know it's there. So, that being said, now let's go to actually getting this thing operating and running. Alright, so I went ahead and charged the phone. It didn't take that long to charge, as you might imagine, with a battery that's only a 320 milliamp per hour, right? Anyway, so it charged quickly, and I went ahead and installed the SIM card. Now, a couple notes on this the SIM compartment here. To get it open, obviously you put your fingernail in there and you pry it open. Now, this door is in there by like 3 tabs, and when you open it, this door kind of pops off, and then you can put your SIM card in. But now the important thing to keep in mind is when you put this little door back, you have to be careful because the tabs that hold it in, so it's not falling off right now, also make it hard to get it back on. So you have to kind of walk a fine line between snapping it in without breaking off the tabs. It wouldn't have taken much to make this a lot nicer, but okay, I managed to get it on, so take your time with that. Okay, so once you have that done, though, you'll notice on the bottom here, you can see that there's a slider switch. Of course, the thing on the left is where you charge it, but the slider switch is there on the right of the charging port, and you want to slide that little switch over to, well, the way I have it here, you want to slide it to the left. So we're going to do that. Okay. Done that. Now that's like the master power switch, but now to actually turn it on, you're going to push and hold the hang up button. Yeah, you can hear it definitely makes noise. Okay, so as you can see, it's accepted my carrier, T-Mobile. Okay, so I'm in the menu here, and you can see you have phone book, call center, messaging, organizer, settings, profiles, Bluetooth, and phone book. And okay, we're back going through again. So you do have a menu. There are, so it's pretty easy to navigate. The one thing you have to keep in mind is that since you do have such limited space as far as, I guess you could call them buttons, you have to look at the screen and figure out, okay, how do I select that? How do I go down and up? So you have to look at the cues it gives. So for example, this now is the OK button and this is the back button. And then once you select something like, let's just call center or whatever, then you navigate using this, and then you select using that. So just basically read the prompts so you know what you're getting into. And again, because it's such a small screen, you want to make sure you hit down a few times to make sure you're not missing 4 options or whatever. So yeah, so that works. And let's go ahead and do a test call. So let me just get out of this. I'll back out. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead here and dial time and temperature, and I usually use this because this here, let me just clear that one sentence. So this number here is to an automated thing that tells you the time and temperature and blah, blah, blah. That way, though, we can make a phone call without actually having to bother anybody, and it is, in fact, a number that I have to call out for. So with that being said, I got the number dialed in, and it makes nice little rainbow letters or numbers. And here we go. So I will call. And I'll hit hands-free. Okay, so you hear it works. Alright, so after going through the menu for a little bit, I was able to get Bluetooth active. If you look at the top of the display, you'll see there's 3 blue icons. Now the musical note, that has really nothing to do with the Bluetooth, but if you see the next two, do. There's a headphone icon and then the actual Bluetooth symbol. Well, the Bluetooth symbol shows that Bluetooth is functioning, but the other symbol, the headphones there, show that it is, as this phone called it, is connected to an audio device. And that device would be these here. These are my Philips Sports earbuds. And of course they're the Bluetooth. And I picked to test it with these because these are obviously for Bluetooth, a later version of Bluetooth. As where the phone here is equipped with Bluetooth 2.0, these are obviously past 2.0, and I was wondering if this device would be able to connect to more up-to-date Bluetooth accessories. But it's working, so that's a good sign. Okay, so I wanted to do 2 more things. First, I wanted to go ahead and just call this phone so you can hear just how loud the ring is. I know some might be concerned that such a small phone might not make enough noise and they might miss a phone call. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and call it. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty loud, especially considering how small this thing is. The next thing I was going to do is I was going to show what a text message looks like. So I've sent a text message to this phone here, and we'll see if I can go find it. I'm just going to go menu, do messaging, okay, inbox, and view. Okay, so here it is. Of course, you're going to have to scroll down a little because, again, small screen. But so here's the message I sent. So, as you can see, you can obviously read text messages. Alright, so how is it to use? Well, let's go through. First, let's talk about the keys. Kind of important, right? Okay. Now, as you can see here, the keys are not separated into separate actual keys. Rather, we have this flat sheet where we have these white numbers printed and letters and all that. But this is essentially just as a flat sheet of plastic. And then underneath, if you rub your fingers over the quote-quote keys, you can feel that there's portions where it's a little more elevated, and that would be the buttons that you're actually pushing to, say, a 2 or an 8. So the thing about this kind of setup is that you actually have to look where you're pushing. So if you want a 1, you're going to have to push there. You can't, push there because it won't work. And without the separated keys, you can't feel your way around. So again, that's just the way this type of setup operates. That's not really anything against it. It's just something to keep in mind. Okay, what else? The earphone, okay, or the speaker. And it's actually the same thing, as you might imagine, because in this type of this phone in particular, you have one speaker. It's right up there, that strip there, the silver strip. Now, since this doesn't have another speaker like a smartphone would, on the back or on the bottom or whatever like that, when you use the regular hold it to your ear and talk, or when you want to do hands-free, i.e. speakerphone, it's all going to come out of the same spot right up there. So the difference for this particular device is just how loud it is. If you're using the regular, holding it to your head, that is a little less volume, and when you hit the hands-free or speakerphone, this just gets louder. And yep, of course, the microphone for you, what you're saying is that little pinhole there. And yeah. Okay, so wrapping it up here. I'll give you the my rundown on this. But before I do, I want to take the time to make a little disclaimer here, which is that I have not used this as my daily phone. I haven't, used it for months on end. I haven't charged it and discharged it and recharged it and, in and out of the pockets thousands and thousands of times. So I don't know how this phone will hold up if you do actually put it through its paces, okay? So, that being said, all I can do is tell you from the short time I have spent with it, it does in fact make phone calls. The features it has are actually quite impressive. Keep in mind how small this thing is. Again, it even having Bluetooth is something more than I was actually expecting from something this small. Anyway, and also as far as the phone quality goes, as far as the phone call quality goes, today I was at a store and I purposely called somebody really for no other purpose than just to test this phone, and I didn't tell them that I was using a mini phone, and because of that, they would have no reason to talk extra loud or be extra forgiving or repeat things 7 times. So they thought I was just calling my normal phone. I asked them, so hey, could you hear me? Because I said something like, oh, the store might be kind of busy. Can you hear me? And they're like, oh, no, I can hear you fine. And that was using the hands-free or speakerphone to do that and holding it at normal distance when you talk in such a manner. Anyway, so as far as reception goes, again, I hadn't have any problems with that. Now, keep in mind, I am in a metro area of our state, so phone signal here is going to be about as good as you're going to get. If you go out to some real rural area, I don't know how powerful the antennas in this device are. So, but again, I just test. At least if you're in the metro, it seems to work fine. So, with all that being said, as long as you keep a realistic expectation of what a non-smartphone can do, this actually does quite well. In fact, factor in just how tiny this is, it's actually quite impressive.